Believing in yourself when no one else does is one of the hardest, yet most powerful choices you can ever make. It is the kind of belief that does not come from compliments, approval, or recognition. It comes from deep inside, from the part of you that refuses to give up no matter how much doubt is surrounding you. It is easy to feel confident when the world claps for you, when your friends cheer you on, and when people tell you that you are destined for greatness. But when the applause goes silent, when the criticism gets louder than the support, and when every step feels like you are walking alone in the dark, that is when true belief is tested. That is when you have to decide whether you will keep going or give in to the voices telling you that you are not good enough. Think about the greatest achievers in history, in sports, in art, in science, in business. Their journeys were never filled only with encouragement. Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, was once just a skinny boy from Madeira, often doubted, sometimes laughed at, even told by coaches that he might not make it because he was too fragile. Yet he had something that no one could take away from him: belief. He believed in himself so strongly that even when others questioned his body, his skills, or his background, he knew in his heart that if he worked harder than anyone else, if he pushed himself to limits others feared, he could turn his dream into reality. And that belief against all odds was what transformed him from that boy into one of the greatest footballers the world has ever seen. Believing when no one else does means holding onto your vision when it is invisible to others. It means carrying an image of success in your mind that others cannot yet see. It means being willing to look like a fool for chasing something that feels impossible. Every innovator who changed the world was once seen as unrealistic. Every champion who lifted a trophy was once an underdog. Every leader who inspired millions was once told to stay quiet, to be average, to follow the safe path. If they had listened to those voices, if they had allowed external doubt to become internal truth, they would have never broken barriers. Belief is the seed of every breakthrough, but belief alone is not enough. Belief without action is just a wish. What makes belief powerful is the courage to back it up with relentless work. When no one believes in you, you have two choices: to shrink and give up, or to rise and prove them wrong. The beauty of believing in yourself is that it gives you strength to endure setbacks, to train longer, to study harder, to practice more, to keep going even when there is no immediate reward. It gives you patience in the process, because you know that your time will come as long as you don't quit. It gives you resilience because you start to understand that rejection and failure are not signs that you are worthless. They are part of the journey to greatness. There will always be people who doubt you. Some will do it out of jealousy, because your ambition reminds them of their own fears. Some will do it out of misunderstanding, because they cannot see the vision you carry. Some will even do it out of love, trying to protect you from disappointment. But none of them live in your skin, none of them feel your passion burning inside, none of them will do the work for you. So why should their doubt be stronger than your faith? Why should their limitations define your possibilities? If you listen too much to their voices, you will silence your own. If you believe their words more than your own dreams, you will live a life designed by their fears instead of your courage. Believing when no one else does also means accepting that the journey will be lonely at times. You may have to walk alone when your friends quit. You may have to wake up earlier than everyone else, train when they are sleeping, study when they are partying, and sacrifice pleasures that others enjoy. But here is the truth. Loneliness in pursuit of a dream is temporary, but regret lasts forever. The same people who doubted you today may one day call you lucky, not realizing that your luck was built with sleepless nights, endless effort, and a refusal to quit when no one was watching. What they call luck is actually the reward of belief. You do not have to be born with extraordinary talent to live an extraordinary life. What you need is extraordinary belief combined with extraordinary discipline. Look at the story of any self-made person, and you will find moments where they were told no. Moments where the doors closed in their face. Moments where even family or close friends told them to give up. But they refused. They decided that one yes was worth all the no's. They decided that one shot at victory was worth years of struggle. They decided that even if no one else could see the vision, it was still real enough to chase with everything they had. There will be times when your own mind becomes your enemy. Doubt will creep in, whispering that maybe the critics were right, that maybe you are not cut out for this. That is when you must hold on to belief even more fiercely. Remind yourself why you started. Remember the dream that kept you awake at night. Remind yourself that greatness is not reserved for others. It is possible for you too. And remember that every champion was once a beginner who refused to quit. If they can rise from nothing, so can you. Believing when no one else does is not about arrogance. It is not about pretending to be perfect. It is about trusting the process, having faith in your growth, and knowing that you can improve every single day. It is about saying, I may not be there yet, but I will get there. It is about focusing on progress, not perfection. It is about embracing failure as feedback and using it as fuel instead of a final verdict. Every time you fall and rise again, your belief gets stronger. Every time you push past exhaustion, your confidence grows. Every time you keep going when quitting feels easier, you prove to yourself that you are unstoppable. So when no one else believes in you, believe anyway. Believe because the world has been changed by people who refused to accept the limits placed on them. Believe because the story of your life is still being written and you hold the pen. Believe because doubt is cheap, but faith is priceless. Believe because the future belongs to those who dare to see it before it arrives. Believe because one day, your story might be the one that inspires someone else to believe when no one else does. And most importantly, believe because deep inside, you already know you were meant for more. Discipline beats talent. It always has and it always will. Talent is a gift, but discipline is a choice. You cannot control the family you are born into, the natural abilities you were given, or how quickly others seem to learn or succeed. But you can always control how hard you work, how consistent you are, and how disciplined you remain when the excitement fades and the journey becomes difficult. Talent may get you noticed, but discipline is what keeps you there. Talent may give you a head start, but discipline is what carries you across the finish line. We often admire people who look like naturals, who make things seem effortless. A footballer who dribbles past defenders as if they were not even there. A musician who plays the piano as if the keys were part of their own body. A speaker who commands attention without breaking a sweat. But what we do not see is that talent alone is never enough. Without discipline, talent is wasted. Without discipline, potential remains unrealized. The world is full of people who were gifted but never reached greatness because they relied too much on talent and forgot the value of discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is waking up when the alarm goes off instead of hitting snooze. It is training even when your body is tired and your mind is full of excuses. It is choosing the long-term reward over the short-term comfort. Talent may let you win once, but discipline allows you to win again and again, because discipline builds habits, and habits build character. And in the end, character is stronger than any gift you were born with. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the clearest examples of this truth. He is talented, yes, but what separates him from countless other talented players is his discipline. From the time he was young, he was obsessed with improvement. He stayed after training to work on his finishing, his strength, his speed, his technique. He controlled his diet, his sleep, his recovery, all with military-level discipline. While many other players with natural ability were satisfied with being good, he committed himself to becoming great. That is why his career has lasted at the highest level for so long. That is why even at an age where most players slow down, he continues to compete, breaking records, scoring goals, and setting standards. His story proves the lesson clearly. Talent may open the door, but discipline is what keeps it open. Discipline beats talent because talent is inconsistent. Some days, your natural ability shines. Other days, it does not. If you depend only on talent, you will be at the mercy of your mood, your energy, or your circumstances. But discipline does not depend on feelings. Discipline shows up every day, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is reliable, and reliability creates results. Think of it like this. A talented person who trains 3 days a week will always fall behind a disciplined person who trains every day, even if the disciplined person started with less ability. Over time, consistent effort compounds. Hours become days, days become months, months become years. And when you look back, the disciplined one has surpassed the talented one, not because of luck, but because of habits. Discipline also builds resilience. Talent may give you success quickly, but quick success often creates fragile confidence. The moment challenges arise, the talented person who has never worked through struggle begins to doubt themselves. The disciplined person, on the other hand, is used to difficulty. They have trained their mind and body to endure discomfort. They are prepared for obstacles because discipline has taught them that progress is not always easy and that setbacks are part of the process. That resilience makes them unstoppable. In school, you see this too. The student who is naturally smart may pass exams without much effort, but the student with discipline studies consistently, reviews their notes daily, and practices until they understand deeply. Over time, the disciplined student often surpasses the naturally gifted one because their foundation is stronger. In the workplace, the same is true. A talented employee might impress early, but without discipline, they lose focus, miss deadlines, or stop improving. The disciplined worker, however, keeps growing, keeps learning, and keeps delivering. They become dependable, and dependability always wins in the long run. Another reason discipline beats talent is because discipline multiplies talent. If you have a gift and you combine it with discipline, you become extraordinary. Discipline sharpens talent, polishes it, and elevates it to its highest level. Imagine a diamond in the rough. Talent is the diamond, but discipline is the one who cuts it, shapes it, and makes it shine. Without discipline, the diamond remains hidden. With discipline, it becomes priceless. Discipline is also about sacrifice. To be disciplined means you cannot always do what is easy or fun. It means sometimes saying no to things others enjoy, so you can focus on what matters most. People will not always understand your sacrifices. They may laugh, they may criticize, they may say you are too serious. But discipline requires the courage to ignore distractions and stay committed to your goals. Years later, when the rewards appear, the same people who doubted you will admire your results. The truth is, talent fades if it is not maintained. The body grows older, the mind gets rusty, the spark can disappear, but discipline creates habits that keep you sharp, strong, and focused, even as life changes. That is why the disciplined rise to the top and stay there, while the talented who lack discipline often peak early and fade away. Anyone can choose discipline. You do not need to be born with it. It is a skill you build, a decision you repeat daily. Start small, commit to showing up, commit to doing the work even when it feels boring, commit to following through on promises you make to yourself. Each time you keep that promise, your discipline muscle grows stronger. Over time, you begin to trust yourself. You begin to see progress, and progress is addictive. The more progress you see, the more discipline you build, and the cycle continues upward. Discipline also beats talent because it creates freedom. At first, discipline may feel restrictive, as though you are forcing yourself into routines and rules. But the longer you practice it, the more freedom you gain. The athlete disciplined in training earns the freedom of performance at the highest level. The musician disciplined in practice earns the freedom of expressing themselves on stage with confidence. The student disciplined in study earns the freedom of opportunities and choices in life. Discipline is the price of freedom, and those who are willing to pay it are the ones who live without regret. In the end, talent is only the beginning. It is like a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after the spark has faded. Talent may inspire people for a moment, but discipline inspires respect forever. When people look at a disciplined life, they see consistency, dedication, and strength. They see someone who did not just rely on what they were given, but someone who built greatness through effort and sacrifice. So, never envy talent. Respect it, yes, but never believe it is enough. If you are not the most talented, do not worry. You can outwork, outlast, and out-discipline anyone. If you do have talent, do not waste it by relying on it alone. Multiply it with discipline. Remember that discipline is the equalizer, the one factor that anyone can control, the force that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Discipline beats talent because talent can make you good, but discipline can make you great. Talent can give you moments, but discipline can give you a legacy. And when all is said and done, it will not be your talent that defines you. It will be your discipline. Criticism is something every person faces at some point in life. It does not matter how talented, successful, or hardworking you are, there will always be people who doubt you, question you, and tell you that you are not good enough. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is not the absence of criticism, but how they respond to it. Most people hear criticism and allow it to break them. They take it as proof that they should stop trying, that their dream is too big, or that they are not capable. But champions, leaders, and dreamers who rise above the rest do something different. They turn criticism into fuel. Instead of letting negative words crush them, they use them as energy to push harder, go further, and prove the critics wrong. Criticism can sting because it often comes when you are already giving your best. You put in the hours, you sacrifice, you pour your heart into something, and still someone finds a flaw. They might laugh at your dream, mock your effort, or belittle your progress. The first instinct is to feel hurt, to ask yourself if they are right, and sometimes even to think about quitting. But here is the truth. Criticism is a sign that you are doing something that matters. Nobody criticizes those who do nothing. Nobody wastes energy doubting the person who plays it safe and hides in the shadows. Criticism comes because you are daring to stand out, because you are chasing a dream that others are too afraid to chase themselves. The great Cristiano Ronaldo has often been criticized throughout his career. Early on, people called him too flashy, too skinny, too selfish, too ambitious. Later, they said he was too old, too past his prime, or too obsessed with his own image. At every stage, there were doubters. But instead of letting those voices destroy him, he turned them into motivation. When they said he was too weak, he built his body into one of the strongest in football. When they said he was only about tricks, he sharpened his finishing until he became one of the most consistent goal scorers in history. When they said his career was ending, he worked even harder to stay relevant at the top. The critics thought they were tearing him down, but in reality, they were giving him fuel. Every negative word became fire that drove him forward. That is why he continues to inspire millions, not because he avoided criticism, but because he mastered the art of using it. Criticism, when used correctly, can be the most powerful form of energy. Think of it like fuel for a fire. When someone tells you that you cannot achieve something, you can either let the flame die, or you can throw their words into your fire and make it burn hotter. Each insult, each doubt, each rejection can become a reason to work harder, train longer, and prepare better. Instead of asking, "Why are they criticizing me?" ask, "How can I turn this into strength?" When you shift your perspective, criticism becomes less of a wound and more of a weapon. There are two types of criticism. One is constructive. It comes from people who genuinely want you to improve. They may point out weaknesses not to hurt you, but to help you grow. This type of criticism is valuable because it gives you information you can use. The second type is destructive. It comes from jealousy, fear, or ignorance. These critics want to bring you down because your ambition reminds them of what they are not doing. They do not want you to rise higher because it exposes their own lack of effort. The secret is to learn from both. Take the constructive criticism seriously and use it to sharpen your skills. Take the destructive criticism personally, not in a way that breaks you, but in a way that pushes you to prove them wrong. Imagine a young athlete who is told, You will never make it to the professional level. They have two choices: believe it and quit, or hear it and use it as fuel to train harder than anyone else. Imagine a student told by a teacher, "You are not smart enough for this subject." They can either accept the label or let it ignite their determination to study harder, to show that they are more capable than anyone imagined. History is full of people who turned doubt into destiny. Thomas Edison was told he was too stupid to learn anything. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television. These criticisms could have ended their dreams, but instead they became fuel that powered them to legendary success. The key is to control your emotions. Criticism hurts because it feels personal. But if you can step back and see it as energy instead of insult, you will discover a strength that most people never find. The critic's voice becomes your background music, reminding you why you cannot afford to stop. Their doubt becomes your challenge. Their negativity becomes your proof of progress. Because every time you keep moving forward despite their words, you are already winning. There is also something powerful about silence in the face of criticism. You do not always need to respond with words. You do not need to argue, defend yourself, or try to convince them. Let your results speak. Let your growth be the answer. Let your success be the reply they can never ignore. The sweetest victory is not shouting back. It is proving them wrong by living the life they said you could not live. When Ronaldo scores goals season after season despite the critics, he does not need to explain himself. His actions say it all. That is the beauty of turning criticism into fuel. You transform their negativity into achievements that silence them without a single word. Criticism can also keep you sharp. If everyone praised you all the time, you might become lazy, arrogant, or careless. Criticism reminds you that you are still growing, still proving, still pushing. It keeps you humble, because no matter how far you have come, there will always be something to improve. It keeps you hungry, because the voices of doubt push you to keep chasing more. And it keeps you grounded, because it teaches you that success is not about pleasing everyone. It is about staying true to your vision, no matter what they say. So the next time someone criticizes you, take a deep breath and remember that you have a choice. You can allow their words to crush your confidence, or you can use them to strengthen your drive. You can take their doubt as defeat, or you can take it as motivation. Do not run from criticism. Do not fear it. Embrace it, because it means you are on the right path. The higher you climb, the more critics will appear, but the more fuel you will have for your fire. One day, the same people who criticized you may look back and call you inspiring. They may even pretend they always believed in you. But you will know the truth, that their doubt was the fuel that kept you moving when things got tough. You will know that without the criticism, you may not have found the strength to go as far as you did. That is the gift of criticism. It gives you energy you never knew you had. Criticism is not the end. It is the beginning of growth, of motivation, of resilience. Do not waste time wishing it away. Use it. Turn it into fire, turn it into strength, turn it into proof. Let it push you to work harder, to focus deeper, to rise higher. Because when you turn criticism into fuel, nothing can stop you. Not the doubts of others, not your own fears, not even failure itself. The critics think they are tearing you down, but in reality, they are building you up. And when you finally succeed, you will know that part of your victory belongs to them. Not because they helped you, but because their criticism gave you the fire to prove them wrong. Hard work never lies. It is one of the simplest truths in life, yet one of the hardest to fully embrace. People may doubt you, circumstances may stand against you, luck may not always be on your side, but hard work has a way of telling the truth in the end. It may not give you instant results, it may not reward you overnight, but sooner or later, the effort you put in shows itself. Hard work never cheats, never deceives, never hides its outcome. It speaks clearly through results, through growth, through transformation. In a world where many people look for shortcuts, easy wins, and quick success, Hard work stands as the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. Talent can impress, luck can surprise, but hard work builds consistency. Hard work ensures that when opportunities arrive, you are ready to seize them. It guarantees that even if you start with nothing, you can climb to levels others thought impossible. That is why we say hard work never lies, because effort always reveals itself, whether in your performance, your character, or your achievements. Think of Cristiano Ronaldo. He is talented, yes, but his greatness did not come only from talent. It came from countless hours behind the scenes, training while others rested, sacrificing when others enjoyed comfort. He built his body, his technique, and his mindset through relentless dedication. That is why at nearly every stage of his career, he has silenced critics who thought he was finished. Hard work told the truth about him. While others depended on talent alone, his work ethic created longevity, consistency, and records that will be remembered for generations. His story is living proof. Hard work never lies. Hard work is honest. It gives you back exactly what you put into it. If you train with half effort, the results will show. If you study without focus, the grades will reveal it. If you prepare carelessly, the performance will expose it. But if you give everything, if you pour your sweat, time, and energy into your dream, the results will eventually match your effort. The scoreboard, the exam paper, the paycheck, the performance, all of them reflect the truth of your work. That is why hard work is the most reliable investment you can ever make. Many people give up because they do not see results quickly. They work for a few weeks or months, and when nothing changes, they stop. What they do not understand is that hard work is like planting seeds. You do not see the tree immediately. You water it, nurture it, protect it, and wait patiently. The roots grow underground, invisible to the eye, until one day the tree breaks through the soil and begins to rise. Hard work is the same. The results may be hidden at first, but they are growing inside you, building your discipline, strengthening your skills, shaping your character. And then, when the time is right, the results appear, undeniable and unshakable. Hard work also builds respect. People may admire talent, but they respect hard work. Why? Because talent is a gift, but hard work is a choice. Everyone can work hard, but not everyone is willing to. When people see someone putting in effort day after day, sacrificing, pushing, and staying committed, they cannot help but respect it. Even critics fall silent in the face of undeniable effort. That is why hard work not only produces results, it also produces reputation. Another truth is that hard work beats excuses. Excuses are lies we tell ourselves to avoid effort. I don't have time. I don't have the right resources. I wasn't born talented enough. But when you work hard, you stop giving energy to excuses. You realize that time can be managed, resources can be created, and talent can be developed. Hard work crushes excuses by proving them false. Every success story begins with someone who could have made excuses, but chose instead to put in the work. Hard work also gives you confidence. When you know you have trained harder, studied longer, or prepared more thoroughly than anyone else, you step into challenges with belief. You may still feel nervous, but deep inside you know you have earned the right to succeed. That confidence is different from arrogance. It is built on effort, not empty words. You cannot fake it, because you know whether or not you truly worked hard. That is why we say hard work never lies, because even in your own heart, you know the truth. If you cut corners, you feel it. If you gave everything, you feel it too. There is no substitute for effort. You can have the best plan, the greatest vision, or the biggest dreams, but without hard work, they remain only ideas. Hard work is the execution, the action, the bridge that takes you from desire to reality. You cannot buy it, you cannot borrow it, and no one can do it for you. Hard work is the personal price of success, and those who are willing to pay it are the ones who rise. Sometimes people confuse hard work with suffering, but hard work is not punishment, it is investment. Yes, it requires sacrifice, sweat, and sometimes pain, but it also gives back tenfold. Every repetition makes you stronger. Every page studied makes you smarter. Every hour of effort brings you closer to your goal. Hard work is a gift you give to your future self. The pain is temporary, but the rewards last forever. Even failure cannot deny hard work. You may work hard and still stumble, still lose, still face setbacks. But even then, the hard work is not wasted. It leaves lessons, growth, and resilience that stay with you for life. Failure is never the end if you worked hard. It is simply a step toward eventual success. Those who rely only on talent and fail often quit because they have nothing else to fall back on. Those who work hard and fail rise again, stronger than before, because their foundation is built on effort, not on luck. Hard work is also contagious. When you give everything, you inspire others to do the same. Teammates, classmates, colleagues. They see your discipline, and it pushes them to raise their standards. That is why leaders are not always the most talented, but often the hardest working. Their effort sets the example, and others follow. In this way, hard work multiplies itself, creating cultures of excellence. The beauty of hard work is that it is fair. Life is not always fair, but hard work is. It does not care where you come from, how rich or poor you are, how talented or untalented you feel. If you put in the work, you get the reward. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. Hard work is the great equalizer because it gives everyone a chance to rise. So whenever you feel doubt, remember this: hard work never lies. The truth will always come out in your results, your growth, your character. Others may question you. Circumstances may delay you, but if you keep working, the day will come when your results speak louder than any words. Trust the process. Respect the effort. Do the work when no one is watching. Because when the lights turn on, when the test comes, when the opportunity arrives, your hard work will reveal itself, and it will never lie. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that the hours you spent, the sacrifices you made, the sweat you gave were not wasted. They built you into who you are. They told the truth about your character, your discipline, your strength. And that truth will always stand, because hard work never lies. Sacrifice creates freedom. It sounds like a contradiction at first, because sacrifice means giving something up, while freedom means having everything open to you. But when you look closer, you realize that freedom is not about doing whatever you want whenever you want. It is about creating the ability to live the life you dream of, without being controlled by weakness, laziness, or distractions. True freedom is earned, and the price is sacrifice. Every great achievement, every life of purpose, every lasting success has been built on the foundation of giving up something today to gain something greater tomorrow. When you see a successful athlete, a great entrepreneur, a skilled musician, or a brilliant student, you may notice the glory and the rewards. But what you often do not see are the sacrifices that created that success. The mornings of waking up before sunrise, the nights of staying awake to study, the weekends of training while others relaxed, the meals skipped or replaced for the sake of health, the parties missed, the comforts denied. Sacrifice is invisible to the crowd, but it is the hidden path that leads to freedom. The freedom of standing on the stage, the freedom of financial independence, the freedom of living your dream instead of someone else's. Cristiano Ronaldo is an example known to millions. People see him as a superstar, admired around the world, financially free, and respected as one of the greatest footballers in history. But what gave him that freedom was not talent alone, it was sacrifice. He gave up the carefree life many young players lived. He denied himself unhealthy food, late nights, and laziness. He spent extra hours in the gym, extra time on the training pitch, while others enjoyed leisure. He disciplined his body, his mind, and his lifestyle. Those sacrifices gave him the freedom to extend his career, the freedom to perform at the highest level for decades, and the freedom to live a life of choice instead of chance. His story shows us clearly, sacrifice is not loss. It is investment in freedom. Many people want freedom without sacrifice. They want health without giving up unhealthy habits. They want wealth without giving up comfort. They want success without giving up distractions. But life does not work that way. Every freedom you enjoy is built on something you gave up. If you want the freedom to travel the world, you must sacrifice time and effort now to earn the resources. If you want the freedom of a strong body, you must sacrifice unhealthy cravings. If you want the freedom of being the best in your field, you must sacrifice hours that others spend on entertainment. Sacrifice is not the enemy of freedom, it is the price of it. Sacrifice also creates focus. When you let go of what does not serve your goal, you free yourself from the chains of distraction. Every no you say to something meaningless is a yes to something greater. The student who sacrifices hours of video games for studying gains the freedom of better grades and future opportunities. The athlete who sacrifices unhealthy habits gains the freedom of peak performance. The person who sacrifices short-term pleasure gains the freedom of long-term fulfillment. Without sacrifice, life becomes scattered. With sacrifice, life becomes directed. Freedom created by sacrifice is also lasting. Quick pleasure fades fast. A night of partying lasts a few hours, but the cost might linger the next day in lost energy or wasted time. But the sacrifice of skipping that night and preparing for an exam can give you the freedom of better results, which may open doors for years to come. The sacrifice of saving money instead of spending it recklessly may feel hard in the moment, but it creates the freedom of financial stability for a lifetime. Sacrifice is delayed gratification, and delayed gratification is the foundation of lasting freedom. Many people confuse sacrifice with suffering. They think it means pain without purpose, but real sacrifice is different. It is not about losing for the sake of losing. It is about choosing wisely. Sacrifice means trading what is less important for what is more important. It is saying, I give this up now, so I can gain something greater later. That mindset transforms sacrifice from a burden into a strategy. It turns sacrifice into strength. Sacrifice also builds character. Every time you resist the easy path, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you choose long-term growth over short-term pleasure, you prove to yourself that you are in control of your life. That control is freedom, because many people are not free. They are controlled by impulses, addictions, fears, or the opinions of others. True freedom is not the absence of limits, but the presence of self-mastery, and self-mastery is built through sacrifice. Think about the greatest freedoms people dream of: the freedom to live without regret, the freedom to choose your path, the freedom to take care of your family, the freedom to retire early, the freedom to be healthy, strong, and energetic. All of these freedoms require sacrifice. To live without regret, you must sacrifice laziness and excuses today. To choose your path, you must sacrifice the comfort of following the crowd. To provide for your family, you must sacrifice selfishness and put in effort. To retire early, you must sacrifice overspending and save consistently. To be healthy, you must sacrifice bad habits. Every freedom is purchased by sacrifice. Even failure cannot take away the value of sacrifice. You may give up comforts, work hard, and still stumble. But those sacrifices are never wasted. They build resilience, wisdom, and strength. They shape your character and prepare you for the next opportunity. And when you finally succeed, the sacrifices you made will make the victory sweeter, because you will know you earned it. Sacrifice also separates the committed from the casual. Everyone says they want success, but few are willing to pay the price. Everyone wants freedom, but few are willing to sacrifice for it. That is why the rewards of life do not go to everyone. They go to those who are willing to give something up to earn them. Sacrifice is proof of seriousness. It is the evidence that you are not just talking about your dreams. You are working for them. The beauty of sacrifice is that it compounds. One sacrifice leads to another, and over time, they build momentum. The athlete who sacrifices one unhealthy meal begins to eat healthier consistently. The student who sacrifices one night of laziness begins to build a habit of discipline. The worker who sacrifices 1 hour of distraction begins to build productivity. Each sacrifice stacks on top of the last, creating a lifestyle of focus and freedom. One day, the sacrifices you make will set you apart. While others complain about being stuck, you will enjoy the freedom of progress. While others regret wasted years, you will enjoy the freedom of results. While others wish for better lives, you will live yours with purpose. That is the quiet promise of sacrifice. It demands something from you now, but it always gives more than it takes. So, when you face the choice between comfort and sacrifice, remember this truth. Comfort gives you ease today, but regret tomorrow. Sacrifice gives you challenge today, but freedom tomorrow. The path may not be easy, but it is worth it. Every moment of sacrifice is a brick in the foundation of your freedom. Every decision to delay pleasure is a step toward lasting joy. Every time you choose growth over ease, you are writing the story of your own freedom. And when the day comes when you stand on the other side, enjoying the rewards, living the life you once only dreamed of, you will not remember the things you gave up. You will only remember the freedom you gained. You will see clearly that nothing was truly lost, because everything you sacrificed was simply an investment in the life you now live. That is why sacrifice is not a prison. It is the key that unlocks the door to freedom. Sacrifice creates freedom. It always has, and it always will. Consistency is power. It is not the big effort you make once in a while that changes your life, but the small effort you make every single day. One great performance can inspire people, but consistent performance creates legends. One burst of motivation can push you forward, but consistency is what keeps you moving when the motivation fades. Success in any field is not built overnight, it is built brick by brick, day by day, through the power of showing up again and again. Most people underestimate consistency because it does not always feel dramatic. Training every morning, studying a little each day, practicing your craft daily, these things can feel boring, repetitive, even invisible. You may not see results immediately. You may even wonder if it is working at all. But consistency is like water dripping on a stone. One drop does nothing, but over time, the drops carve valleys. Consistency creates power because it compounds. Every small action adds up until one day, you look back and realize you are not the same person anymore. Cristiano Ronaldo is a perfect example. His career is not defined by a single match or one great season. It is defined by consistency. Year after year, goal after goal, record after record, he has proven himself at the highest level. It was not just talent that got him there. It was showing up early to training every day, pushing himself in the gym, eating the right food, recovering properly, and repeating this cycle for decades. Even when he had already achieved greatness, he remained consistent. That consistency turned him into one of the most respected athletes in history. His story shows us that consistency is not just a habit. It is power that outlasts talent, youth, and even criticism. The truth is, anyone can be motivated for a day, anyone can work hard for a week, but the ones who achieve greatness are those who stay consistent for months, years, even decades. Consistency is what separates the amateur from the professional, the dreamer from the achiever. You cannot build strength by going to the gym once. You cannot master a subject by studying once. You cannot achieve success by working hard only when you feel like it. True power comes from doing the work over and over until it becomes part of who you are. Consistency also builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. When you commit to something and show up every day, you begin to believe in yourself. You create confidence because you know you are reliable. You know that even if things get tough, you will not quit. That kind of self-trust is powerful because it removes doubt. You do not have to wonder if you will follow through. You already know you will, because consistency is your habit. Others also begin to trust you when they see your consistency. They respect the person who keeps showing up, who delivers results again and again, who does not disappear when things get hard. Consistency builds reputation, and reputation builds opportunity. Consistency is also the cure for failure. Everyone fails at times, everyone stumbles, But the consistent person does not stay down. They get back up and they keep going. They may fail 10 times, but because they keep trying, eventually they succeed. In this way, consistency turns failure into growth. The inconsistent person sees failure as the end. The consistent person sees failure as just another step on the journey. That is why consistency is more powerful than talent. It guarantees progress no matter how many times you fall. Another reason consistency is power is because it creates momentum. At first, showing up feels difficult. You have to fight against resistance, excuses, and laziness. But when you do it day after day, it becomes easier. Habits form, discipline strengthens, and soon the effort that once felt heavy becomes natural. The gym becomes part of your routine. Studying becomes part of your schedule. Practice becomes part of your life. This momentum makes success inevitable, because once consistency takes over, you no longer rely on motivation. You rely on habit. Consistency also creates mastery. You cannot master a skill by practicing it randomly. You cannot become great at something by doing it occasionally. Mastery comes from repetition, from deliberate practice repeated thousands of times. The best athletes, musicians, and thinkers are not the best because they worked hard once. They are the best because they worked hard consistently for years. Each repetition added up, sharpening their craft until they reached levels others could only dream of. Consistency may look ordinary in the moment, but over time it creates extraordinary results. Many people stop because they expect instant results. They want to see progress immediately, and when it does not happen, they quit. But consistency teaches patience. It teaches you that success is not about speed, but about persistence. The tree does not grow in a day, the mountain is not climbed in one step, and greatness is not achieved in a moment. Consistency is the slow, steady force that outlasts impatience and carries you to the top. Consistency also makes you resilient. Life will test you with obstacles, distractions, and setbacks, but if you are consistent, you keep moving forward, even if the progress is small. One step a day may not look like much, but 1,000 steps will take you further than one giant leap followed by inaction. Consistency turns small steps into great journeys. It turns ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. It is not about perfection, it is about persistence. Think about health. If you eat healthy for 1 week, nothing changes. But if you eat healthy consistently for a year, your entire body transforms. Think about money. Saving a little each month may seem insignificant, but do it consistently for years, and you build wealth. Think about relationships. One kind gesture is nice, but consistent kindness builds trust and love. In every area of life, consistency is the invisible power that creates visible results. Consistency also humbles you. It teaches you that success is not about dramatic gestures, but about small actions repeated faithfully. It keeps you grounded because you realize that what matters is not what you do once, but what you do daily. It reminds you that greatness is not built in a moment of glory, but in thousands of unseen moments of effort. This humility keeps you focused, disciplined, and hungry. One of the greatest strengths of consistency is that it outlasts motivation. Motivation is temporary, it comes and goes depending on how you feel. But consistency does not care about feelings. It is about showing up even when you do not feel like it. That is what makes it powerful. Anyone can act when they are motivated. Few can act when they are not. Those few, the consistent ones, are the ones who succeed. So when you feel like quitting, when you feel like the effort is too small to matter, remember this truth: consistency is power. Your actions may feel small today, but they are adding up. Every workout, every page read, every hour of practice is a brick in the foundation of your future. Do not underestimate the power of showing up. Do not discount the value of persistence. Consistency is not glamorous, but it is unstoppable. And one day, when you look back, you will see the power clearly. You will realize that the life you built, the goals you achieved, the freedom you enjoy, all came not from one big effort, but from thousands of small ones. You will see that consistency was the greatest power you had, because it turned your potential into reality, your dreams into achievements, your effort into legacy. Consistency is power, quiet, steady, undeniable power. Use it, and there is nothing you cannot achieve. Dream bigger than logic. At first, this sounds reckless, maybe even impossible, because logic is what tells us what is safe, what is realistic, what makes sense. Logic is important. It helps us survive, plan, and make rational decisions. But when it comes to dreams, logic can become a cage. Logic looks at the evidence in front of you and tells you what is likely. Dreams look beyond evidence and see what is possible. Every great achievement in history began with a dream that defied logic. The airplane, the internet, electricity, space travel, all of these were once considered impossible, illogical, even ridiculous. But they became reality because someone dared to dream bigger than logic. When you dream only within logic, you limit yourself to what has already been done. You settle for the ordinary, the expected, the safe. But when you dream beyond logic, you open the door to extraordinary possibilities. Logic says, be realistic. Dreams say, be visionary. Logic says, stay where it's safe. Dreams say, take the leap. Logic says, you can't do that. Dreams say, why not? That tension between logic and dreaming is where greatness is born. Cristiano Ronaldo's life is a perfect example. Logic said a boy from Madeira, a small island with limited resources, could not rise to become one of the greatest footballers in history. Logic said he should be satisfied with less, that his background and environment would hold him back. But his dreams were bigger than logic. He dreamed of becoming the best player in the world, of breaking records, of standing on stages where the whole planet watched. That dream seemed unrealistic, but he chased it with relentless effort. He trained harder, worked longer, sacrificed more, and eventually turned what seemed illogical into undeniable reality. Today, he is proof that dreaming beyond logic is the first step to achieving the impossible. The truth is, logic is based on the past. It looks at what has already happened and predicts the future accordingly. But your dream is not bound to the past. Your dream is about creating something new, something that has never existed before. If you rely only on logic, you will repeat history. If you dare to dream bigger, you can make history. That is why the people who change the world are often called dreamers first and geniuses later. Dreaming beyond logic also fuels motivation. When your dream excites you, scares you, and feels bigger than anything you've ever imagined, it pulls you forward. You wake up with fire because you know you are chasing something extraordinary. If your dream is too logical, too safe, it will not give you that energy. It will not push you through the hard days because deep down it does not inspire you. But when your dream is bigger than logic, it becomes your fuel. It gives meaning to your sacrifices, strength to your struggles, and purpose to your journey. Of course, dreaming bigger than logic does not mean ignoring effort. A dream without work is just fantasy, but a dream that is bold, irrational, and ambitious, combined with relentless consistency, becomes unstoppable. Logic may laugh at you in the beginning. People may doubt you, criticize you, or call you crazy. But if you stay committed, if you keep building step by step, one day those same people will look at you in awe. They will realize that the dream they thought was impossible was simply a vision ahead of its time. Dreaming beyond logic also expands your potential. Logic keeps you within your comfort zone, but dreams stretch you. They force you to grow, to develop skills you didn't think you had, to push past limits you thought were fixed. A big dream is like a mountain. You may not know exactly how to climb it, but in the attempt, you become stronger, wiser, more resilient. Even if you fall short, you will still have gone farther than logic would have ever allowed. That is the gift of dreaming big. It pulls the best out of you. Consider the dreamers who shaped the modern world. The Wright brothers were told flying was impossible. Elon Musk was told rockets could not land and be reused. Steve Jobs was told no one would want a computer in their pocket. Logic argued against them, but their dreams overpowered logic. Now airplanes, reusable rockets, and smartphones are normal parts of life. What was once illogical is now everyday reality, all because someone refused to shrink their vision. Dreaming bigger than logic also inspires others. When people see you aiming high, they begin to believe in bigger possibilities for themselves. Your courage becomes their permission. Your vision becomes their hope. That is why great dreamers are not only achievers, they are leaders. They light a path for others to follow, showing that limits exist only in the mind. There will always be voices of doubt. Some will come from outside, others from within. The inner voice of logic will whisper, "It's too risky, it's too hard, it's too unlikely." But if you silence that voice and listen instead to the voice of your dream, you will realize that risk is the price of reward. Difficulty is the path to growth, and unlikely is not the same as impossible. Every time you ignore doubt and move toward your dream, you weaken the chains of logic and strengthen the wings of vision. Dream bigger than logic because logic is temporary, but dreams are eternal. Logic changes as knowledge grows, but dreams are timeless. They always point to what could be. Logic will tell you to fit into the world as it is. Dreams will push you to shape the world into what it could become. The greatest tragedy is not failing at a dream too big, but never daring to dream at all. Some people argue that dreaming big sets you up for disappointment, but the truth is, small dreams carry the same risk. You can fail at something small just as easily as something big. So if failure is possible either way, why not chase something magnificent? Why not risk for something that excites your soul? Why not go after a vision that will make your life meaningful? Even if you fall short, the journey will be worth it. Dreaming beyond logic also brings freedom. You stop living by what others expect and start living by what you believe. You are no longer trapped by the limits of statistics or probabilities. Instead, you live guided by possibility. That freedom gives you power because when you stop asking, "Is it logical?" and start asking, "Is it possible?" the world opens up in front of you. At the end of your life, you will not regret dreaming too big. You will regret dreaming too small. You will regret listening to logic instead of your heart. You will regret staying safe when you had the chance to be bold. But if you dream beyond logic, even if you do not achieve everything, you will live fully, courageously, unapologetically. And that kind of life is its own victory. So dare to dream beyond logic. Dare to imagine a future no one else can see. Dare to set goals so high they make others laugh. Then work with passion, discipline, and faith until the laughter turns to silence, and the silence turns to applause. That is how you create miracles. That is how you turn impossible into inevitable. Dream bigger than logic, because logic limits you to what is probable, but dreams lead you to what is possible. Logic keeps you on the ground, but dreams teach you to fly. Logic explains the world as it is, but dreams create the world as it will be. And if you have the courage to dream bigger than logic, you hold the power to achieve greatness that others cannot even imagine.